What's going on, guys? It's Dime, and today we're going to be making a handle out of an antler for this very large ferrocerium rod. Just going to be cutting that off, hollowing it out, making a nice wood cap to fill in the end of this, and yeah, maybe drilling a hole and putting a lanyard on it. So before we get to that, I'd like to explain just for a second why I haven't been posting the last couple weeks. I had a bad stomach bug, and I'm just now getting over it, starting to feel better. So there will be more content more consistently from here on out. Just wanted to let y'all know that, and yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so for this, I'm going to be using really all basic tools. You know, the most expensive tool I'm going to be using is a drill. This one was a gift for me, so it was free, but you can get one pretty cheap if you don't already have one. Everybody needs one. And basic things are files. Figure I might need some needle files. These are some cheap ones from Harbor Freight. I'll try and put up a little link right here to show you. A couple little picks, dig out some of the marrow from the center of the antler to be able to put everything in. And then I got some drill bits. These are made for my impact. These bits are also from Harbor Freight. Very cheap set. It'll get you through some jobs at work. Lifetime warranty, so why not? And then I don't even have to be honest, this is what I've been using to make all the antler stuff I've made so far. I've cut all the antler with it, and it's still very, very, very sharp. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be using to cut this. Let's get to it. Start with cutting, and then we'll move to trying to file it down, then we'll hollow it out, oil it up, and everything. Alright, so there's the piece I was trying to get. Now I'm going to file it down some, smooth everything out. This way. And again, this is just a cheap file from Harbor Freight. It's not a great file. That's why I use it for stuff like this. Not afraid to gum it up and everything. It's just a beater file to get through everything. Alright, you see how that's starting to smooth out. I'll get that all flattened down and kind of soften up these edges. Smooth this end out. Maybe a tiny bit of filing right there because that's kind of a sharp edge right there. And then yeah, I'll get back to you here in a second. Alright, so there's it all filed down pretty well and all around the edges and everything. Top and bottom fairly straight on both sides. I'm happy enough with that. Next is going to be drilling this out, and then I'm going to have to make kind of a little shelf in here where I'm going to put a piece of wood that fills that space in. So yeah, that'll be the next part. Alright, so we're going to start off with this bit, and we're going to go up a little bit, and then I'm going to have to switch to my drill driver and use these bits. Got one that's almost perfect, exact size as this ferro rod. So yeah, let's get to drilling. I really don't need this to go all the way through. Just, you know, part of the way in there. So this shouldn't take too much. Let's go ahead and step up bits. To be honest, I could probably just carve this out with one bit. You can already see most of the way through there already. Pretty much got the right size hole. Just gonna even it out with the bigger bits. I'll get back to y'all when I'm done with this part. Alright, so got that drilled out. Get that drilled out. Fits this in there pretty well. Decent amount to go on there so that it's got some purchase. I'm gonna score this up with the file now, the edge of the file, to make sure it's got something to grab onto, and go ahead and carve out a little bit of this right here just to make a little bit of room for some epoxy to go over the top. Call that good. See, I kind of just made a little shelf right there so it can be filled with epoxy. Alright, call that good. For this, I'm going to be using E6000. Score this up real quick. I'm just going to take my file and kind of go around this in some lines. Just giving it some grooves so the epoxy's got a little bit more to hold on to, so there's ridges in there for it to grab. I'm going to take this epoxy, go ahead and put a good amount down in the bottom of this. Trying to work it kind of around. There's going to be excess. I want that. I want there to be extra to squeeze out when I'm done, when I'm getting the ferro rod squeezed in there. Alright, we'll start with that. See how that goes. I'm sure I'll have to touch up a little bit to fill in some little spots. Yep, there we go. Getting it squeezed out, and that crack too. Cool. That'll seal all the way around it then. Kind of lock it into place a little more. Move some of this epoxy over to fill in this gap in the front. Gonna need a little bit more there. Cool. Just filling in this little spot right here. Try and even that out, make it flush. Grab a paper towel. Kind of let all this drip down in and soak in. Work it around the edges. Alright, I'm gonna clean this up a little bit with paper towel, let it dry a little bit so I can start working on the other end and getting the wood piece. I'm gonna be scraping this down, making a shelf, and then putting a wood plug in the end so it just looks nicer, and then we'll drill it and put a lanyard through it. Yeah, See y'all here in a minute. Alright, so that epoxy dried a good little bit, and I got this little shelf carved out all the way around it in the bottom here, where I'm going to be sticking, tracing out, and then trimming to fit in there. I'm going to burnish and oil the little piece of wood, just make it look nice. I got a question for y'all. You might be able to help me. I cut this tree down last year and I've used it for a bunch of little projects, but I'm not sure what kind of wood it is. Could you all help me identify this? What type of tree is this? It's got a really wide grain. Not super tight packed. As you can see, it's pretty wide. Got this bark right here. I don't know. If any of y'all know, please help me out here. But I'm going to start by tracing this out on here with a Sharpie, the whole diameter, and then work on kind of filing it and sanding it down, getting it to the proper size. This is just a rough. It'll all get cleaned up in the sanding and filing of it. I'm going to get this cut out and a little closer to shape, and then I'll get back to y'all here in a second. Alright, so I got this little piece of wood pretty much ready to fit in there, as you can see. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and start burnishing it. All I did was use some 80 grit sandpaper to shape all this and my Mora. Now I'm going to take this, turn this flame down. So there's the basic first burn. I'm going to do some fine sanding just on the faces with some 400. Might end up hitting that one more time with the torch real lightly. Get some nice darker spots in there. Like that. other side. There's that. One more quick sand. Alright. This is the face that's going to be showing. I'm pretty happy with that. Get a little bit of, I guess now I'm going to go ahead and epoxy this in. Let's get some more of the E6000 epoxy in here. Going to squeeze this down in here. Some paper towels to go ahead and wipe it off, because there will be excess. And there's going to be a little bit sticking out that will end up sanding flush here in a minute once it dries a little bit. Work that extra epoxy around the edges and go to wipe everything smooth so there's not a bunch of excess on everything. That's already looking pretty good right there. Pretty happy with that. See, it's sticking up a little bit on this corner right here and a little bit there. Once this dries a little bit, we'll hit that with some sandpaper some more. Some more this 400. And yeah, when this dries, I'll get back to y'all. And then after that's done and we sand it, I'll be drilling a hole for a lanyard and putting a lanyard on it and then oiling the whole thing. Yeah, stay tuned. Alright, I let that dry pretty good and then I got it sanded down and burnished again. Sanded down to 400 again, just roughly. Not real smooth, I don't care. It's a fire starter. I'm not that worried about it. Next is going to be drilling a hole for a lanyard and then kind of beveling that hole on both sides and then oiling the whole thing and throwing a lanyard on it. Let's get to drilling. Okay, there's our first size. Got our hole drilled through there just to start. It's getting bigger. We're going to step it up. Drill a little bit bigger now. Continue this process up a little bit. This is the size I'm looking for right here. Alright, so I got the hole drilled. I got it beveled how I want it. It's good enough. I'm happy with it. Now I'm going to throw some oil on it. On everything. Let it soak in. Epoxy isn't 100% set. It's going to take like 48 hours to completely set up, but the outside is set up enough for me to put some oil on it. And this is just olive oil. I've used some rim oil before. I've used, you know, beeswax. I don't have any, you know, boiled linseed oil or like ballast stall or anything like that at the moment, so this is what I'm using, olive oil, and it's worked for me so far. Let this oil soak in a little bit, coat it a couple times, let it soak in real nice, darken up a little bit more. You can already see how good that's looking compared to how it was all dried out, bringing some life back to it. But, get a couple coats of oil on this and throw the lanyard on it and we'll be done. Yep. Alright, the oil's set in pretty good for the first coat. Go ahead and get this lanyard put through here. This is a 325 cord. This is about 8 to 10 inches or so. Alright, here we go. Just got a decent little thing. This handle fits just about perfectly in your hand right here. See how that sits right there? It's kind of perfect. Alright, that's one project down right there, guys. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like, comment down below, let me know how I can improve, and tell me what you think. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. For future projects coming up, we're going to be making a tri-fold wallet with the crown bags and leather, black leather. And then also I'm going to be making a handle for this old hammerhead that was my grandpa's that I restored a long time ago. Yeah, well, stay tuned, stay up to date with my stuff, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the content. Thank you for watching.